I'm Wendy Johnson, if you don't know me yet. So I serve as the president of Echo, but I also head up the baseball team. So some of you guys I know, I've known for a long time. Not somebody trying to get in the door. We're going into our 4th year, and we have been lucky enough to have Skip that whole time. We kind of got him by accident, and it was a God accident, y'all, because he knew what we needed. So we were really excited to have another year of fun baseball. So this year we're really excited. We're going to be able to have a JV and varsity squad. We will have crossover, somewhat like we did last year in our JV and varsity players. So Skip is going to kind of explain a little bit more about that later and how that works and what that means. So whenever we started 4 years ago, it was 2020. We all know what 2020 was, the year of COVID. And so we got started and we got shut down. But we came back the next year, we came back strong, and then the next year it grew a little bit. So our whole goal with this program is to grow every year a little bit more. There's not a whole lot of homeschool baseball down in this area of DFW, and so we're excited to be able to provide that for students and to have that baseball experience. So our goal is to grow the program and to keep it going. So everybody should have picked up a player packet. This information is important because it gives me information about you and your kiddo and all that good stuff that I can share with Skip, that sort of thing. It also has contact information and emergency contact information because this is high school and sometimes parents aren't there, and so we might have to call somebody. And then the medical release, that's, in case we have an ambulance and somebody's broken their arm, heaven forbid. Well, we have to be able to give them information so that they can treat your child. So those kind of things help us. So those are really important. And I put the goes by on there because if your kiddo's name is Thomas Michael West, but they go by Michael, I need to know that, so I'm not calling them by the wrong name. Or Skip. Skip's name is not Skip. So, that's kind of important. So we're going to go over the second part of our player packet, and then Skip's going to talk to you guys. So I'm going to talk to you about some of the stuff that's in here, and then Skip's going to go over some of the stuff that's in here too. So, Colton, come here. Will you go give the one of these to everybody? So this part of the packet is the stuff that you're going to get to keep and you're going to get to take home. So that's why I put it separate, because first of all, I didn't want it to be a distraction while you're trying to fill out your medical information, but I also wanted you to know that this is your part to take home. Skip and I are going to go over this with you guys, and we'll answer questions and all that kind of stuff, and then y'all get to take this home. So in this packet, you'll see the Eagles Code of Conduct and the bat-back checklist. Skip's going to go over those with you. The Echo dress code, discipline policy, and fee agreement. So whenever you join the Eagles, you're joining Echo. So if you aren't aware, it's Ellis County Christian Homeschool Organization. We've been around for 30-something years. We provide lots of opportunities for homeschool families, and whenever you join the team, you join Echo, so you have the opportunity to do all those things with us. We have field trips, and we have classes, and we have Mom's Night Out, and we have family events, and we have a chili cook-off, and all those kind of things. So it's not just about baseball, it's about the whole homeschool family experience. So as part of that, we want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. So for our Echo events and our Echo things, whether it be a baseball game or a class day or we're at the park, we want to make sure that we're all on the same page. So one of the things that the board has worked really hard on this year is to make sure that people know who we are as Echo, what we stand for, what we represent, and moving forward that those things are clear. We don't want anybody to question who we are. We are a Christian organization. We are unashamedly Christian. And I know in today's world, that can mean a whole lot of different things. We are a biblical Christian organization. So whenever you sign up for Echo, you sign a statement of faith and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that we're big on is dress code, because we are called to be different. So I know with the boys, it's not really, I always tell people, I'm like, I don't have issues with my baseball players. Nobody shows up in Daisy Dukes or tube tops. We're good. So the biggest thing with the boys is don't come with something crude or lewd or nasty on your shirt. We're set apart. And so, but we have moms and sisters and aunts and grandmas and things like that that's come in, don't let grandma show up in her tube top and Daisy Dukes, please, So, because here's the thing is whenever we walk up to the field, whenever we walk up to a game, whether we're wearing an Eagles uniform or an Eagles t-shirt or something orange and navy or whatever it may be, we're all representing the Eagles. We're all representing Echo. And Skip will talk to the boys about this. Character is really big for us. Who we are, who we represent, that's really big for us. So we included the dress code in there just because we want to make sure everybody's on the same page. So our discipline policy, we haven't really had any issues. I don't anticipate any, but this is the discipline policy that we follow across like all of our stuff, whether you're in classes or whatever. We kind of have a 3-step discipline policy. If Colton's cussing in the dugout, Skip's going to, I know, Heidi's like, don't you be cussing in the dugout. So Skip's going to call him out on cussing in the dugout. It's a bad representation. It's not a good role model for the younger kids that are looking up for him. It's not a good role model for the older kids that are looking up to him. It's not a good role model for the people that are outside the fence. We don't want to be that kind of person. So we want to make sure that we're kind of across the board. So if your kiddo's doing something that's inappropriate, we're going to verbally talk to them, whether it be Skip or me or whoever sees them. If it happens again, it's going to be like, we're going to be going to the parents. So at classes and stuff, we actually have like a documented discipline slip that we give out, kind of like a pink slip. When I was in school and I called somebody a butt, I had to go to the office with my pink slip, stuff like that. Kind of the same thing. And the reason that we started doing that's new this year, but the reason we started doing that is because I hope y'all are like I was. If I had to go home with that discipline slip, I was in big trouble. And I didn't want to ever do it again. So it kind of changed that behavior. So, and if it's something that continues, there are other steps we take. You go talk to the board, or you might just lose your spot on the team if that's the kind of attitude or character that you're putting out there. So that is something that's across the board with Echo. That's how we do things. And so we put that in there because we want to make sure that we're all, again, on the same page. So our fee agreement, we went through our budget to see where we were at and how we were going to do things this year. So our player fees didn't change. It's $1,000 per player to play for the season. We do payments because, it's a lot of money and we know everybody's, a lot of homeschool families are one income and we want to work with you guys on that. So we have payment plans that we can set forth. We ask that everything be paid by the 31st of January. That way, whenever we start our season and we're having to pay umpires and fields and buy baseballs and all that kind of stuff, we have money to do it with. So uniform fees are changing this year. We're going to have a full-on uniform package that I'm really excited about. If anybody's seen the volleyball players, they're using the same company that we're going to use for baseball. It's a really high-quality uniform. They're really awesome. They've gave us a great package, and the goal is that, so like whenever my Cutter that just graduated, whenever he started 3 years ago, we bought uniforms, and he wore his uniform the whole time. We didn't buy other uniforms because we were just like, okay, let's just add to it. So the uniform company, they changed in their manufacturer and we didn't like it as much, so that's why we found Restro. So that's kind of our goal with this one. If you guys are happy with uniforms and you don't want to spend money next year, then the goal is to keep going. They also keep our mock-ups, so we can easily add to and get the same exact package and not have to pay a whole bunch of fees. So that's really good for future teams, future Eagles that come in. So I did put the mock-ups of our uniform package over there. On the orange pinstriped one, if you saw it, the collar has changed and she didn't get back to me in time. So I don't have the final of that, but on that one, the collar and the part that the buttons are going to be navy blue instead of white with the orange pinstripes. So you'll see, I colored it in just so y'all get a visual. But we have 2 uniform sets that they're getting. They'll also get 2 practice shirts, a set of shorts, a bat jacket, a hoodie, and 2 hats. We're going to do the same exact hat. We're not going to do 2 different hats because hats are hard, y'all. They all come from overseas. They're very difficult to get, and we don't need people showing up with the wrong hat and stuff like that. So we're going to have 2, so that way if they want a practice hat, they can get dirty at the field, and then they have a game hat, that kind of thing. They'll also get 2 socks and 2 belts that go with them. So their uniforms, they'll send us a sizing chart and we will be able to order everything through that. So as far as like practice shirts and shorts, if anybody wants to order extra of those or whatever, you're welcome to. But our uniform packages will be set for the players. So there is that. So that, and like I said on that, it's $350. We are going to break that up into payments if you need us to, but we have to pay for those early on. So that's going to have to be due a little bit earlier just so we can get those in. They have a really good turnaround time. It's like 2 weeks. So once we get our stuff in, except for maybe the hats, once we get our stuff to them though, they should have it out to us pretty quickly. They're an American company and they build everything, or they do everything in-house, sublimated. So I'm really excited about that because whenever the girls got their stuff in for volleyball, it was really good quality and it's something that we can stick with, we can keep working with. So, and if you've ever done anything with baseball uniforms or kids uniforms before, you know how difficult they can be. So, and the last thing, and that is the signature page. This one is actually going to come back to me, and this is just basically me holding you accountable, saying that you've read over the stuff, you agree with it, you've asked your questions, you've had it clarified, and you know, you're agreeing to what we're doing. So if there's something that comes up during the year, I can go back and go, oh wait, hold on, Heidi, you signed this. I'm asking students to sign it too, because things like dress code and code of conduct and things like that, that includes our kiddos as well. So their name will be on there as well on that. Okay, so I'm gonna let Skip talk to you guys about all of his good stuff, and he's gonna go over baseball conduct and all that too, because that's originally his. I didn't, but we can do that. Do you want to talk to him about it? Or you want me to? Okay, I didn't put that on here. Okay, practice, and so practices, we lost our field at Camp Hoblitzell this last year. They've had some changes out there, and so we're not able to practice out there anymore. So we do a fall practice set from October to mid-November, 6 weeks. It's not, we say it's not mandatory because we do have kids that play football and other sports and things like that, but we try to get everybody out there as often as possible, those 2 days a week, because there's bonding that goes on, there's extra practice that goes on, there's getting to know Skip that goes on, there's getting to know how the Eagles work, all those kind of things, so it's real important. And then games start, we start practice mid-January, and then games start the 1st of February, and we're full on until the 1st or 2nd week of May. So practice fields, I am looking at DeSoto, Grimes Park up there. He got back to me and told me that he's fairly certain that we can have the big field up there on the days that we requested, and in the spring we can have games there and practice there. So, but he's waiting, the youth league up there, they use it. They don't have as many in that age group, so they don't use it as often, so that's why I didn't think it'd be an issue, but he's waiting to get a confirmation from them that they're not going to use it on the nights that we requested. So I don't have it confirmed yet, but that's our goal. We do have the option possibly of using Maypearl for fall, so the sports complex out there, so that's another option that we're looking at. So that part will be confirmed, hopefully ASAP, so that we know for sure what we're doing there. So I'll let everybody know as soon as that's set. So I think that Monday nights are game nights. That's our, and if all goes well and we get what we're asking for, Monday nights will be game nights and Thursday nights will be travel nights when we go. So our goal is to have a JV game and a varsity game. There are a few weird games on the calendar, like there's a Wednesday and there's possibly a Tuesday, and that was just the only day that that particular team had available, and so we're working around their schedule. So whenever that happens, that'll take away either the Monday or the Thursday, depending on what else we have scheduled, because we're not gonna play 4 days a week, that kind of thing. So in the spring, we'll practice Tuesday, Friday. But again, that just depends. You know, Skip is very conscious of arm care and players and things like that. So if we have a lot going on, we may not practice as much, just depending on, you know, sometimes practice will be shorter or different, but those are our main days. So in the spring, it is full on baseball for a few months, and it's a lot of fun, and we have a great time, and you're gonna love it, and it's just gonna be great. So that's practice and games. I put all that on a Google Calendar, so if you don't use Google, that's okay. I'm gonna send it to you anyway, and then you can just transfer dates to whatever you use. I love Google, he's my favorite. so I Google everything. But Eagles have their own calendar, so I can put everything directly on there. I can share the whole calendar with you as well, so that way you can just see it, like Jenny does that, and then she has her Google Calendar and she can just see everything that's on there. And then for individual things, I invite players to it directly, so that way you can transfer it to your calendar if it's easier. So that's that. I think that's it. All right, now I'm going to turn it over to Skip.
So I appreciate everybody being here. It's good to see everybody. We got old folks, and I see quite a few new people. So this is more or less just to make sure that we're, like Wendy said, we're all on the same page. And for the folks that feel like that they want to possibly join the team, then this is going to help you understand where we go as a team, as an organization. What she's already talked about some of the things we're trying to accomplish, but it also lets you know the baseball expectations of this. Okay, I don't think I'm gonna have any issues with anybody sitting in here about what I'm fixing to talk about kind of how we do things. I just want to make sure that we don't have any miscommunications. All right? So everybody gets to hear it right now. So that if something happens at practice or something happens at a game, you're not going, well, now, wait a minute. Or you get on the ride home, your kid's talking to you, and, well, what did coach say? And then you hear a whole different version of probably what really it was said. Okay? So I'm going to explain things now so that later maybe we won't have so much miscommunication, all right? Because we're dealing with 14 to 18-year-olds. They have trouble understanding. They have trouble remembering. They don't think clearly, okay? So we're going to get all that straight, hopefully, okay? I am old school. I mean, I'm old, but I'm old school when it comes to baseball. And I just feel like that there's certain ways to play the baseball game and to practice baseball and to how to approach it, and that's what I do. And if you're not one of those guys, then this isn't for you, okay? I'm just going to be straight up honest with you. Might should go find something else to do. I like to call it integrity in the game. So I want you to respect the game. And I'm talking to the players at this particular minute. But parents, you have this opportunity to hear this so that you can reinforce what I'm telling them. They're going to respect the game. That's what we want done. We want them to understand that there's an integrity to the game. And that's how we want to try to approach this as an organization. We want people to understand and look at us. Hey, you know what? Those guys from Echo, they know how to play the game the right way. Doesn't matter whether we're winning or losing. Okay? Do I want to win? You betcha. Am I competitive? Absolutely. Life's competitive. Your job's competitive. Your schoolwork's competitive. But you got to respect the game and respect how things are supposed to be done. Okay? And I know the young guys, you know, they nowadays it's like, I don't have time for that. We don't do it that way anymore. Well, maybe you should. Okay? Let's talk about dress code a little bit. She's already touched on a few things. So I'm going to use Case as an example. Case, come up here, please. Okay. So this is the Echo hat, right? So when you have the Echo hat on, whether you're practicing, whether you're at the grocery store, whether you're at church, wherever it is you're at with the Echo hat on, it better not be like that, ever. Because if I'm somewhere and I see you with it like that, I'll call you out. So just get ready. If you want to go ahead and wear the other hats like that, and that's cool for you, okay. But not that hat. We good? Sir. Everybody good with that? Okay, thank you. All right, February through March at least. It's cold, y'all, right? These guys you're gonna wear sleeves at practice and at games. In April, as long as the temperature is 70 degrees or below, you're gonna wear sleeves. And if it gets to where it's 80 degrees in a game, okay, fine. You'll be able to take the sleeves off if you just can't stand it anymore. But I'm not going to take a chance and be responsible for elbow and shoulder injuries because you're not keeping stuff warm, okay? So we're going to do that. So just count on it. When we practice in January, then all through the games in February and March, you're wearing sleeves, okay? And that's just the way it is. I mean, we can talk about it, but I'll do most of the talking if you want to, okay? We've already talked about respecting the game. The guys that have played for me before, they've heard this 100 times and they're going to hear it another 1,000. We're going to play this game from the first pitch to the last out. Y'all heard that before? Once or twice? We play the game from the first pitch to the last out. We don't start in the second inning and we don't finish early. Okay? We all good with that? We clear, players. Okay? We're not just going to ease into it. This is not a social gathering. That's not how I approach this. We're playing baseball. Is the social aspect part of it good? Absolutely. I love the camaraderie. I love you guys hanging out together. I love you wanting to be on the team. But you're out here to play ball, and you're out here to practice it, and you're going to do it the right way. You're going to practice the right way. You're going to play the game the right way. And if you got issues, that's okay. Come talk to me, and let's see if we can't find some middle ground somewhere. The other thing I like to compare it to, folks, is parents, y'all expect your children to make A's and B's in school, right? Whatever it is you got them doing, whatever classes they're taking, you expect them to make A's and B's. They don't always do it though, right? Okay, so that's what we call an error. So I expect your children to be A and B baseball players too. I don't want them coming out to the ball field giving me half effort or giving their teammates half effort. They're going to come to the ballpark ready to go. And we're going hard from what? First pitch to the last out. Okay? Let's talk about phones. Oh my.
Did you get you some phone pockets?
Maybe.
She's laughing because I got phone pockets for prep for high school. I'm taking their phones, y'all. I'll get you one.
Guys, look. None of us sitting here are that important that we have to have a phone during a baseball game. In the dugout. Okay? You're just not. I'm not. You're just not that important. Put the phone up, put it in your bag, turn it off, and if somebody really needs you that bad, they'll figure out a way to get a hold of somebody and we'll let you know. Okay, men? We good with that, players? Don't show up with your phone and it's ringing in the third inning. You know, and we got our music, we got our ringtone going off. And I'm turning around going, oh my. Okay? We good on the phones? I don't need it. Practice is the same way. We got things to do that are baseball related. Okay? If it's important, if it's an emergency, if you need to be contacted, somebody will get a hold of her, somebody will get a hold of me, and we'll get the wheels rolling on it. Okay? And we don't ever want anything bad to happen. I'm not saying I want you just to we're going to ignore that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying we've had a couple of instances where, I mean, the phone, one of the guys last year, his phone would go off every single game. Every game. 2 or 3 times during the game, in the dugout. And it's like, turn that thing off. Let's play ball. Okay. I want you to, part of that dress code thing, and we've already used Case as an example, but here's the deal. I need you, when you show up at games, I need you to look like a ball player. I need you to act like a ball player. I need you to carry yourself like a ball player. Okay? And that's not having your uniform top on, hanging out. It's not having your socks down there rolled up to your ankles. That's not it. When you roll out of that car, look like a ball player. Okay? Have some pride in what you're doing, what you're about to do. You're representing the team of Echo. You're representing your parents. You're representing your family. You're representing your community. You're representing your church. Be a good example and represent it right. Okay? That's all I'm asking. Pretty simple. It's not hard. Now, if you want to look like a slob and you think that's cool, here's another one of those things. Come talk to me and we'll talk about it. But I'll do the talking. Okay? All right. Let's see. We're gonna make sure that we carry ourselves with some confident humility. I love some of you guys that's got that extra confidence about yourself. Love it. But you better be humble. Because if you're not, this game, faster than any other major sport, will knock you down so fast. Okay? And you don't want that. You don't want to be embarrassed. Carry yourself with some confident humility. Be ready to play the game. We're going to have some dignity and we're going to show some class whether we're winning a game or whether we're losing a game. All right? Whether you feel disrespected or not, and I know how you guys are. I mean, believe it or not, I was your age at one time, and I had a temper like crazy. And so there's going to be some times when you're going to want to bow up, and you're going to just, that guy just disrespected me. Well, we're going to try this. We are going to be the better people. We're going to be a better person. Your instinct is going to be to react. No. Sorry. Let the other idiot make a fool out of himself. You don't be an idiot and make a fool out of yourself. We good? Everybody good with that? Players especially? Okay. Be a good teammate. Parents, that is one thing I'm big on. These guys being good teammates. I don't care if they like each other or not, but they are going to respect each other. As teammates, as athletes, as ball players. Let's talk about practices. She mentioned practice a little bit. If we get to go to DeSoto, some of you are going to have to drive a ways. I get that. I understand that. the 4:30 time is the earliest typically that I can get there on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I really need the guys to be at practice every opportunity that they can be there. It's that important. And the reason that is because, and I'll give you an example, we had a couple of guys last year that they struggled with getting to practice. And they had their reasons, whatever they were. And I'm not going to call people out on it. And, it's just, like I said, they had their own reasons. The deal is, though, there were some times that I went over things at practice that one or two of these guys missed, and the very next game, they had missed some things at practice that we had gone over, and they messed up in a certain situation 2 or 3 different times. Because they weren't at practice, they didn't know. And when I asked them about it, it was like, oh, well, I don't know. Okay, if they'd been at practice, they'd have known. It'd have helped. There's things that I put in at the practices, because that's when I do my coaching, y'all. When we're playing games, you're not going to see me out there going crazy. I'm just not. I expect the guys to get to the field and know how to play the game. And we do it, and we learn it, and we teach it at practice. Okay? That's where they have to learn. That's where they have to get better. Not during the game. It's just these coaches that go out there to the ball games and they're trying to tell the players every single thing to do during a game, they're not doing something at practice that they should be doing, probably. Okay? Because the kid's worried about playing the game. You guys are worried about playing the game. And sometimes you don't have time to sit and listen, this being said, this being said, this being said, while action's going on in the game, right? You just want to go play, right? Show up at practice, and they'll give you a little better opportunity to be successful. All right. She mentioned a JV schedule and a varsity schedule. I can already tell you that depending on the number of bodies that we have end up on the team, we're going to have a few straight JV guys. And we're going to have a few straight varsity guys. And then we're going to have a group that can play both and that will have to. Okay? Parents, we're all proud of our children. And you should be. Okay? However, I am not going to put a kid in a ball game that's going to be humiliated or that's not going to be able to compete at the level that he's facing, the competition that he's facing. So some of the younger guys, I'm not going to dare put them in a position against, if he's 15 years old or 14 years old, I'm not going to have him playing against, trying to hit a ball against an 18-year-old. I'm just not. Unless he has shown me in practice that he's got the ability and the talent to be able to play at that level. Okay? Because when I have a guy, when these kids leave the ball field, parents, I want them to love the game still. Even if they go 0 for 3 and they make 2 errors, I still want them to love the game. But if they're being humiliated, or if they feel depressed or they feel bad because they had a crummy game, okay, that's fine. But if they drag it out for 2 or 3 or 4 days, because I didn't put them in a position to be successful. I'm not going to do that. I want to put the guys in a position to be successful. So I'm going to be, I guess, parents, what I'm saying is, don't get twisted up if little Johnny is not playing on the varsity and you think he's good enough. We can talk about it. Just come talk. Just call me. Now, I do have a 24-hour rule. If you've got questions, parents, I don't really want to talk to you 24 hours before a game, and if you got issues, I probably really don't want to talk to you 24 hours after a game. Because I'm not sure I want to hear what you have to say, and you probably don't want to hear what I have to say either. Just being honest. Okay? So let's give it that 24-hour period, let all the confusion calm down, get all the anxiety out of the way. Give me a call. I'll be glad to have a civilized conversation with any of whatever it is you want to ask about, okay? I'm super easy to talk to, I think. Am I easy to talk to? I'm easy to talk to, okay? The practices I want all the guys there like I talked about. I'm going to put the JV guys through the very same drills that I put the varsity guys through. They're going to all go through the same stuff. They're going to all understand how to field the ball, throw the ball, catch the ball, hit the ball, run the bases, take proper angles, how to get from point A to point B, know when to go and why they're going there. And we sometimes, with some of the stuff that goes on in a baseball game, you're sitting up there in the stands, parents, and you're going, man, I wonder why you even thought about doing that. I don't know. They're 15. Okay? That's part of the issue. But we'll work on it. We'll get them better. Okay, she talked about fall practice. I'm just going to say this. In the fall is when you get better. If you think you're going to wait till January 15th to start picking up a bat or start working to get better for when we start playing 2 weeks later, you're dead wrong. We get better in the fall. And that's why Tuesdays and Thursdays, 4:30 to 6:30 or 7, whatever time it is, we're going to cut it off. Through the whole month of October, Tuesday, Thursday. First 2 weeks of November, Tuesday, Thursday. If you can be there, we'd love to have you there because we're going to get a lot of things done. It's going to be a lot of repetitious stuff. It's going to be stuff that you think you know, but you don't. All right? That's my job to show you. I'm going to have guys that used to play for me, ex-players, went on to play college, do some other stuff, played at a high level. I've already got some guys lined up to come work with you guys. Catchers, pitchers, infielders, outfielders, okay? And that way you don't have to hear me all the time because you're going to get sick of hearing me. But that's okay because I think when you get through playing, you'll be a much better baseball player. That's my goal. And I want you to enjoy your time with Echo. I want you to enjoy your time being here. I want you to enjoy your time being around these other guys on the team and these other families and y'all having a good time and just baseball's a fraternity, y'all. It just is. You're going to make memories and you're going to make friends that are going to last you a long, long time. And so we want to make sure that you're doing everything that you can to get better. Okay. Next thing is wood bats. If you have a wood bat, great. If you don't have a wood bat, talk to mom and dad and see if maybe you can write a letter to Santa Claus and you can get one for Christmas. Okay? Get a wood bat. Start working with it. Off a tee, soft toss, front toss. Okay? It makes you a better hitter. Okay? And I'll be glad to help you pick out one, give you some examples of what you probably should be looking at. There's 400 brands. And don't panic. The wood bats aren't near expensive as these metal bats. But if you don't know how to swing it, and that's why we do the tee first, that's why we work soft toss first, that's why we work front toss stuff, so that somebody's not really throwing a ball and you swing it the very first time and hit it down on your hands and snap it. Okay? So get a wood bat. We'll teach you how to use it, make you a better hitter. Private instruction. If you're taking private instruction right now, great. You don't have any problem. I'm not going to have any problem with you doing that. I'm not going to try to change anything. I'm not going to ask you to do something different, okay? I want you, if you feel confident that the guy that you're working with, that he is the king of the hill and the best thing that's walking on baseball, then okay, fine. Let me know. It's fine. I don't have a problem with that at all. So now until the end of November, or really the end of December, you guys need to be working on this. So players, hear me. Strength and conditioning, speed and agility, stretch bands, cardio, and eat right. Nutrition, nutrition, nutrition. Okay? All right. Do I need to say that again? Strength and conditioning, speed and agility, cardio, stretch bands, nutrition. But let's talk about the weightlifting. Baseball weightlifting is different than football weightlifting. Baseball weightlifting, I need you to lift, but I need you to lift lighter weight, just more reps. Don't see if you can put 425 pounds on that barbell and bench press it. Not interested in that. I'm more interested in you putting 125 on the barbell and doing it about 25 times. And close the grip, not a wide grip. Why is that? Because we don't want to tear this up. We don't want to tear this up. Okay? Don't do football weightlifting, baseball weightlifting. You can still get strong. Okay? All right. Anybody got any questions? Yes, ma'am. Fall practice, first week of October through the second week of November, Tuesday and Thursday, 4:30 until at least 6:30, maybe 7. Yeah. Mrs. Johnson's talking with the folks in DeSoto, and hopefully it's going to work out where we can use that.
Okay, so he didn't touch on the bat bag equipment checklist, but players, all of you should have one of those. So Skip came up with this and shared it with us when he first started with us. And this is important because this tells you like what he's expecting you to have. So you shouldn't ever show up to a game without, like your batting gloves or your, bat or your sleeves. It's a big deal. So a couple of things that, as he was talking, I should have had a pen, but so one of the things that I know a lot of people wonder about, last year we had some very young players that were able to play with us and played JV and practice with us. And from the parent side of it, he wasn't my kid, but they're all my kids. I saw just leaps and bounds and improvement in them as players. And that's something that you don't have an opportunity to do that if you don't play with a team like ours, where the kids have that opportunity to cross over and practice, the littles practice with the bigs. So last year we had 8 seniors and they were out there with the littles, and the littles got all that knowledge from the bigs. So this year the littles are the bigs. But that's something that not everybody has the opportunity to do. So that's something that's kind of special about us. Something that he didn't say, he is the be-all, end-all of who is playing where. Don't call me and ask me why your kid didn't play second base. I'm gonna say, I don't know. You gotta talk to Skip about that. Wait 24 hours. I don't get to make any decisions on who is on the team. I don't get to make any decisions about whether or not you make the team, or whether or not you make JV or varsity, or whether or not you play in a game. I don't make batting lineups, nothing. I am here to take your information, make schedules, stuff like that. That's my part of it. I take your money. I do the admin part. Skip is the coach. That's why we pay him the big bucks. We don't pay him nearly what he is worth, y'all. And I'm sure I've said this to you guys. He is old school, and I love that. It's all about character. It's about care of the kids. It's about who they are. He probably loves the boys almost as much as I do. Whenever you become an Eagle, you know, if I see you at Walmart with your hat on backwards, I'm going to call you out just like he is. You know, that's just who we are. I want the best for all of our kids. So there was a couple of other things I thought of and now I forgot. Oh, one thing I can tell you is we have a lot of kiddos that have DBAT subscriptions to the DBAT here in Waxahachie. So like extra practice time, you know, things like that. They can meet up there and kind of have that time to bond and practice together and stuff. So Spirit Gear. So we have t-shirts. I have them over there. We were lucky enough to have AmeriCase people in our courtyard, and they helped us get t-shirts last year. So you'll see, like Skip and I are wearing, Vanessa, we're all twinsies tonight, or tripletities tonight. So we still have t-shirts available. That is a fundraiser for us. So that goes into the pot to help us pay for things that we do throughout the year and stuff. So those are available if anybody wants one. We are probably going to have some other things t-shirt wise. I have a lady that is willing to make like small amounts of t-shirts and do them as fundraisers, and she gives them to us really cheap. So that's a good fundraiser. So we'll probably have some other opportunities on those as well for like Spirit Gear for families and stuff, you know, things of that nature. So service opportunities. Okay, Colton, I need you again. So go give one of these to everybody. Okay. So, let me have one because I need to remember what I said. There we go. Okay, so I don't have a kid on the team this year, y'all. My big has graduated. He starts college tomorrow. I'm really excited. So it's not a guarantee that I'm going to be able to be at every game. I'm going to try because I love my Eagles. I love baseball. And I get really excited to go see them play. So, but last year there was lots of different things that we tried. We added a lot of new stuff last year that we were just trying to make it better, trying to make it the experience better for players and the team and parents that maybe they couldn't be there. So this year, I'm hoping that people step up. Well, I'm not hoping. People are going to step up and help me do these kind of things so that way if I can't be there, we can still have those opportunities. So like live streaming. We have a Game Changer account and you can live stream through it. And so for the dads that weren't able to be at the games last year, or the moms, if they weren't able to be there, they still got to watch the game, which was really fun and cool. So that's something that we bought some stuff, like the things you hang on the fence and stuff like that, you know, so that way whoever does that can kind of have that opportunity and the equipment to do it. A Game Changer person. So that's important because, you know, that's scorekeeping for those people that aren't able to be there. They can still keep up with it. Plus it keeps the stats and stuff like that so the kids can see them and y'all can see them. The keeper of the banner. I was the worst keeper of the banner last year, y'all. So we get a banner done with our sponsors, and that goes to every single game. So there was a couple times I forgot it, and somebody had to go get it for me. It was so precious of them to do it. But we hang it up, and so it's, you know, the Echo Eagles and brought to you, sponsored by, and then it has all of our sponsors on it, which is an opportunity for them to be able to get their name out there, but it also looks good for us to be able to show that people support us. So we took it everywhere. We took it all the way to Florida last year, and I didn't forget it. It's actually in the closet right now. So then a paper book person. So Vanessa did this last year, but in the event she's not able to be there, I figured she's probably going to volunteer for that again, but if she's not, it's good to have a backup. Some games require us to have a paper book. So I've been a fan of baseball since I was little. I've always loved baseball, and I taught myself how to do the paper book because I'm a paper person, as you can tell. And so I enjoyed like knowing what was going on, and I don't know all the rules. I don't know necessarily all the ins and outs. That's why Skip gets to make all the fun decisions. But I was able to learn more by learning the paper book. So I've always thought it was fun, but there's some tournaments and some games that we go to where that is required, either by the umpire or the tournament we're in or whatever. So if we have a backup, that's always a good thing. An event planner. I'm looking at you. So Crystal had mentioned that she was interested in helping with this, but I'm sure she will need people to help with it. So some of the events that we do, there's a Christmas parade here in Waxahachie. If there is a Christmas parade in your town or a different parade, we don't mind going and being in it. Ellis County Echo we like serve families in all of the counties that touch Ellis County. So it's not just, Waxahachie's kind of our hub, but we have families that drive from all over. So if, your town is having a Christmas parade and the Eagles want to be in it, hey, more power to us. It gets our name out there. It's always a good thing. So that's always fun. Senior night, we like to recognize our seniors. We're working on a Meet the Eagles night because our volleyball team and our cheer squad are new this year for Echo. And so we're wanting to have a pep rally and be able to have like maybe a fun volleyball game between the boys and the girls or something like that. So we're working on that, probably like October, November or something, to do something like that. And then the baseball banquet, we do that at the very end of the year. And that's a time just to recognize our players. We eat together, we fellowship, and just kind of recognize everything that we do throughout the year. So fundraising. Fundraising is a big thing. So last year, Brian and I headed up the fundraising, and we were able to raise all the money that we needed to go to Florida for the World Series. I'm not doing y'all's fundraising this year, y'all. I'm just telling you outright, it's just not happening. So I do still sell books. So we had a book sale, Echo had a book sale, and so people donated tons of books and homeschool books and stuff, and we had a book sale like here on campus. And then I sell books on Facebook, and I still sell a lot of books, and anything that's donated to me, I sell it for the Eagles. So that money just goes into the fundraising pot. But I'm looking for somebody to head up the fundraising team. To be in charge of coming up with whatever fundraisers you guys want to do throughout the year, and also head up the sponsorship program that we do, and coordinate all that kind of stuff, because that's important. So the fees and things that we pay, or that y'all pay, I don't have to pay this year, for the players, that goes directly to our budget. That pays for our coaching fees, our umpires, our fields, our practice fields. It pays for game baseballs, which if you've ever bought game baseballs, they're outrageous. It pays for any equipment that we have to buy. It pays for insurance, all those kind of things. We have a whole budget. If you want to see it, I can show it to you. And that's what that goes to pay for. So if we do anything extra outside of that, that's what we fundraise for. So that's kind of an important thing. The first couple of years that we had, that we did the team, we didn't do any big, huge fundraisers mostly because people didn't really want to do it. So we didn't do any big championships at the end of the year because we didn't have the money, and it just wasn't a high priority to the teams that we had at that time. But if you guys want to do that kind of stuff and you don't want to pay out of pocket for all those expenses, that's where fundraising comes in. Last year we did a big garage sale, and that went over really well. We did the book sale. We sold a ton of books online. We had sponsorships. There was a lot of things that we did like that to be able to raise the money for that. So we do have sponsorship packages. So Colson, getting your steps in. I hope you have a Fitbit on. So we came up with these last year, and I didn't change them. I changed a couple of things, but most of it is pretty much the same. So one of the things that, if you know me at all, I'm a rule follower. I also like to know what's going on and know what is expected of me. But I'm also one of those kind of people that if I tell you I'm going to do something, I want to make sure I follow through. So everything that's on here is things that we do follow through with. So we, last year we had a lot of people that came up and sponsored us and just gave us money to support our team, which was great. So some of the things that we offer different people is to be on the banner, or there's a place for sponsorships on the website where their logos and stuff, it's a link to their page, goes from the Echo page. We put stuff out on like the Echo Facebook page and stuff like that. We share, hey, if you're looking for a real estate agent, go to this, and then one of our sponsors, that kind of stuff, because it helps. So that's something that you guys can put out there that people have that opportunity if they sponsor us. So, and then everything that we raise, sponsorships, donations, fundraising, goes directly to the Eagles. There's no, Echo doesn't take a cut. There's no administrative fees, the only person that's paid through the team is our coach. Nobody else is paid, so it's all volunteer. And so the money that we raise goes directly back into our boys. So that's a good thing. So this is the packages that we offer. If you have any questions, if you have any ideas or whatever, let me know. This is kind of what we did last year. I did change a couple of things, but there's some good opportunities if you know somebody that wants to let go of some money for us. So that's that. What did I do with my Service opportunities. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is end of year championships. Okay, so last year, like I said, we did sponsorships. I need you one more time. Sponsorships and fundraising, and our whole goal was to get to the World Series in Florida. I know some people have been. If you've never been, we had a great experience last year. So Brian and I were able to take Cutter, our 18-year-old that just graduated, and one of the other players, one of the other seniors from last year, their junior year. We took them and we played with Team USA, which was an experience. It was fun, and the people were great. The baseball was terrible. It was terrible. But to be able to go and have that experience was so great for us that I came back and I was like, Skip, we got to figure out how to get the whole team there. It was just a great experience. So we fundraised last year, and we worked really hard with all those different things that we did in order to be able to take the boys to Florida last year and go as a team. And we did it. We made it all the way there. So part of what we did with that was we paid for the players' room and board. We paid for the player packages, the tournament fee. The food was covered, and we paid for Skip's travel and like the expenses with coaching and stuff like that. We paid for a van, a truck, gas, insurance, all that kind of stuff. We paid for all that. So for parents, it was just a matter of if you wanted to come, you get yourself out there, and then they paid for their own room, like at the deal. The food was donated, and we actually fed everybody all as one. So it was just a blessing for us to be able to do that. It was a lot of money, y'all. The Florida expenses last year were a lot of money, but we were able to cover it with the things that we did. So one of the things that last year, though, that would be different this year is last year we stayed out at a camp. If you've been out to Camp Hoblitzell, or if you've been to, what's another, like the Salvation Army camp where there's cabins and dorms and, things like that where the kids can run around. That was what we stayed at. We stayed at a camp. And there was a game room and a basketball court, and there was a place that we could have food together, and then there was just the open spaces and putt-putt golf, and there was a lake and sand volleyball and all that kind of stuff. So we had lodges and we had apartments, and then the boys all stayed in dorm rooms, which was fun because there was a little hiccup and then they fixed it, and but we had that experience of being all together on one camp, and it was amazing. We had a ball. We just absolutely loved it. The bugs were horrible, but the experience was great. We had a good time going and playing ball together, and then being able to come back and enjoy that fellowship and time together. So that particular camp decided that they're not going to allow that anymore. We were a different group for them. They had never done that. They're a summer camp kind of thing, or they have retreats. So we were different for them because the way that they work it is usually whenever you come in and rent, you buy the food and everything through them. Well, we couldn't do that because we never knew if we were playing at 8 a.m. or if we were playing at 6:30 in the afternoon. We don't know because the schedule is not set. It depends on how you play. So we were not able to buy the food through them because they have to have at least a month's notice. And I was like, we're going to have a day if we're lucky, sometimes a few hours. And so we were different for them. So they decided that because we didn't really fit their mold, that they weren't going to open up to that kind of thing anymore. So that's not an option. So Florida, this year, if we decided to go back to Florida for a championship, it would be more of people staying in hotel rooms. If you've gone before, you get a block of hotel rooms and then, that kind of thing. It would be more of what we did whenever we just took Cutter and Dylan. We actually, Brian and I and the boys stayed in an Airbnb, and it wasn't bad because on the off day, the team came over and we swam or they swam and looked for alligators and played pinball, all that kind of stuff. And it was fun, but the rest of the time we were completely separated. They were at their hotel, we were at our Airbnb, the boys got together one day and went to a movie, and that was about it. It was not the experience that was last year. So that's something to consider when we're talking about tournaments at the end of the year. So I encourage everybody, the end of year tournament is a fantastic thing for the boys to be able to participate in. So one of the things that we had talked about last year, we talked about it for the past couple of years, is the NACA tournament, which is the National Association of Christian Athletes Championship. And last year we had thought at the beginning, we were like, well, we'll just do both, you know. Some teams do that. We had these really high hopes. But as we started looking at cost, I was like, I know, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, y'all. So we ended up just choosing Florida and doing that, which I will tell you, we took 8 seniors last year, and it was an amazing experience. So NACA is held in Tennessee. So I printed out some information for you guys just to be able to see a little bit more about it. So like team registration and the player. So the dorm, it's set up it's a camp, much like we stayed at last year. It's called Camp Jordan. And it's set up where they have lodges and then they have dorm rooms. So the dorm rooms have bunk beds. The lodges are more like motel style. And then they have cabins and different things like that. So the team registration, like if you stay in the dorm, it's $145 a person. That includes 3 meals a day, Wednesday through Friday. So like anybody that registers with the team, like all the players and the coaches and the chaperones, all that kind of stuff that registers with the team, you get that price. So, and that's, you know, something to think about. A lodge is $185. They did go up a little bit from this last year. They already have their information out. And whenever I looked up, it was a little bit more, but it's still extremely affordable. So that tournament is the second week of May. You check in on a Tuesday, you start playing ball on Wednesday, and it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's one game a day guarantee, and then depending on how well you're doing, you might get more. That's how they have it set up. So if you know anything about Florida versus this one, it's about a third of the cost as far as like tournament fees and player packages and like expenses of each person staying, that kind of thing. The cost is much, much less. The eligibility guidelines are a little bit different too. So this is not a homeschool World Series. This is a Christian athlete tournament. So you have private schools that attend it. You have homeschool teams that attend it. So like Joey's not here tonight, but Joey attends a little tiny Christian school up in Irving. They don't offer baseball. So he's eligible to play with us because his school does not have a baseball team. He would be eligible for this. He was not eligible for Florida. He didn't get to go last year because Florida is only homeschool. So that's something to think about too. NACA also has 3 divisions, and I did put the divisions on the back just because my baseball people are going to know kind of what that means. So this is based on like how we do during the year. Last year we were a good solid 500 team. So this would be based on, like, we would be set into a division based on how we do this year. So for this particular tournament. So it's set up a little bit different. It offers some different things. So whenever y'all are talking amongst yourself about what you want to do, Florida's numbers aren't out yet. They don't have their information up. I looked this week to see if they had it up, and they didn't have it up yet about costs and things like that. So I'm gonna guess it probably went up too. I mean, it's just inflation. It's just the way it is right now. It's where we're at in the world. So last year the tournament fee was $950. The player fee was $60 a person, and we covered all that as a team. And then we covered lodging and all that and everything separate. So it's probably going to be a little bit more this year, but that was a roundabout. You can kind of see the difference in cost. But the end of season tournament is not necessarily decided by me and Skip. It's decided by parents, because if we have 4 parents that are gung-ho and want to go, that's not enough. You cannot go to a tournament like this with 9 players. It's just not possible. You're playing multiple days of baseball, sometimes multiple games in a day, and you can't go with only 9 players. We have to have a lot of players. So these kind of tournaments, last year we took everybody, right, that was eligible. We took everybody that was eligible on our roster. We had a couple of kids that weren't eligible because of their school status, but everybody that was eligible went with us last year. Most of them played at some point in the tournament because it was just a great experience for them to be able to do that. So whatever championship, whether or not we decide to do one, that's up to you guys, because y'all are the ones that are going to be either fundraising or paying the bill for that. So that's kind of where the sponsorships and stuff come in. If we want to do this tournament, we'll look and see what the cost is, and then we'll fundraise and try to cover that. If we want to do Florida, we'll look and see what the cost is for that, and then we will try to do that. So our goal, of course, is always for the boys to have a great time, a good learning experience, and parents too. You know, whenever we went out there, most all of our families got to go, and it wasn't just about the boys, it was about all of us. We all got to have a great time out there, so that's something that's real big for us too. So this is for you guys to look over and see. Whenever Florida information comes out, I'll be sharing that with everybody, so that way we can kind of, you know, have a good take on that. So Skip always gives us his input on what he thinks would be good, how he thinks the boys would, you know, like division-wise would fit in, stuff like that. But ultimately, it's up to parents. So, questions? Who has questions? Now's your time. Come on, y'all. I know you have questions. Yes, ma'am.
On the uniforms,
Mm-hmm.
you said there's going to be two shorts.
There's going to be one short. One short, one bat jacket, one hoodie. They're going to get 2 socks, 2 belts, 2 practice shirts, 2 pants, 2 jerseys, 2 hats. It is going to be the same hat though, y'all, because we talked about that. We talked about trying to get different hats, and then I was like, but then they're going to show up in the wrong hat and not have their extra hat in their bag. So we decided just to do one hat, because hats really they're kind of an issue.
You said hoodie?
Yes, a hoodie.
And for the mamas that do most of the washing, I'm going to assume, maybe I shouldn't. It's only one pair of white pants this year, okay? The other pair is navy blue. So
Yeah.
That'll hopefully
And we
ease
didn't
some
go
of
with
that-
the all-white outfit.
Ease some of the anxiety, because I know the dirt, you know, that stuff, it just doesn't come out of the white stuff very good.
Skip and I have been working on uniforms for what, about 8 months now? We've gone back and forth. The lady that I've been working with, she has been so precious to like, hey, can you tweak this? Or hey, I like this. Or I saw this on Pinterest. Can you make this? And we had this huge list of like a whole Google Drive of stuff. And then we went through and picked out the very first uniforms, y'all, were solid white. And they were amazing. They were solid white with orange piping, and they were so good. But I was like, Skip, they would kill us if we
You would.
It was so good though. So we added orange stripes. All right, other questions?
Sleeves? What color sleeves? Are they included?
They're not included. That's just your Under Armour sleeves. I mean, don't send them out there in something that they're going to look silly in, you know, black or navy blue, or they can't wear.
Get the navy blue.
Yeah,
Okay, sleeves.
because you want them to match. You want them to look nice out there.
And you probably need to get, it's gonna depend on the white, what goes under the white jersey. You can't, if you're a pitcher, you can't wear white sleeves.
Yeah.
They won't let you. So you're gonna probably have to have an orange or maybe just the same navy blue, under that white jersey too. So a couple of navy blue sleeves, maybe an orange sleeve, stuff like that.
And are those 3/4 or full sleeve? Full sleeves.
They need to be a full sleeve.
Full sleeves. Yeah.
Don't forget those questions. So let me say this, because I know it's going to come up. It always does. I can't guarantee anybody that plays for Echo playing time, and I'm not going to. If your kid is out here with us and he's working hard and he wants to play and he shows me that he's capable of doing the things that he needs to do to be on the field, he'll be on the field. And I try to be as fair as I possibly can, giving all these guys playing time, especially during the regular season. And that's why she's worked so hard, extremely hard, a V schedule and a varsity schedule, so that we can make sure that the younger guys get playing time and get experience out there in game situations, okay? When we go to tournaments, though, the tournaments are varsity tournaments. Is that right?
Yes.
So the JV guys that, and I'll pretty much tell you by the end of, or by when we start and get to playing or practicing in January, who's going to be strictly the JV guys. You're probably not going to get in those varsity tournaments because, again, it gets back to me wanting to put your child in a situation to be successful, okay? And if he's a 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th grader and he's still got a year or two to play with us, or 3, his time will come if he keeps working, okay? So these older guys that's already been through it, or even some of the middle guys that are 9th and 10th graders that have shown the capability already that they can play at this level, they can hit this kind of pitching that we're fixing to see, that they're not going to be just overwhelmed or overmatched. You know, they're going to get the most of the playing time in those varsity tournament type things. The same thing with NACA. If we go, it doesn't matter if we go to Florida, doesn't matter if we go to Tennessee. It's the same thing. Okay, I'll try to get the guys in the game depending on the situation, but I just can't guarantee it. And it's not fair to the older guys to, you know, for them to have been through the program for 3 or 4 years now, some of them have been, and for me not to give them the amount of playing time they deserve. Now, if they're just stinking the field up, that's a little different story. And I don't mind pulling a kid out of the game who's just simply struggling. Today's not his day. Okay, fine. I may get him out of the game and I may throw him right back out there tomorrow. And that's baseball. That's how it goes. Doesn't matter if you're playing for a private school, doesn't matter if you're playing for a public school, doesn't matter if you're playing for some of these homeschool organizations that has been around a lot longer than us from an athletic standpoint, okay? To this point, I haven't cut anybody and said, no, you're not good enough, go find someplace else. What I want to try to do is I'll take whoever comes out here and wants to play, and you want to put out the effort and you want to put the time in, then I'll put the time in with you to make you as good of a baseball player as I can be. Are you going to be Nolan Ryan? Probably not, but I'll work with you. Are you going to be Mike Trout? Probably not, but I'll work with you. And we'll see if we can get you fixed, or we can see if we can help get you better, so that by the time you leave this program and this organization, you can look back on it and go, man, that was a pretty fun deal. And I'm glad I did it. Okay? So Wendy's already mentioned how much she cares about the organization and the kids and the families and all that. And y'all, if y'all knew how much effort she puts into some of this, and some of you do, it's a ton of work. Well, I love the kids too. That's why I'm out here. Because, yeah, I love baseball, but I love teaching the game. And I love trying to help kids get better. I don't have to be doing this. My CEO at the house, she would love for me to be at home all the time now, because I got 3 grandkids I'm chasing around. But she knows how much I love it. She knows how much that I like to be around the kids and try to help them get better. Okay? So she gives me a reprieve from January till first part of May. So I want everybody to understand, yeah, I get a little serious about this stuff, some of this stuff, and I don't want somebody to think this dude just over the top crazy. No, there's just certain things that have to be done certain ways, the right way. Okay? Let's talk about one other thing. the JV guys that played the first game, typically the JV game is first, then the varsity game follows right up behind that. If the JV guys want to stay, they're more than welcome to stay and support the older guys. Because most of the older guys are going to be showing up and supporting these younger ones during their game. So to reciprocate that is always a positive deal. It's all being a good teammate, okay? At the same time, we had some instances last year where the younger guys became a distraction, and I will not allow that to happen again, okay? Part of it's immaturity, part of it's because they're 13, 14, 15 years old, being around 16, 17, 18-year-olds that understand, okay? So I'll cover that, but I'm just telling you how it's going to kind of be. And if the JV guys want to stay, love to have them. Because watching the game can help them get better just as much sometimes as playing in the game. All right? And hopefully the older ones that they're watching are doing the right thing. That's what I hope. So just those are the couple of things that I wanted to just kind of throw out there. The World Series thing, I think as parents, anytime you get to spend watching your kid play or have the experience of being with them, okay, in that setting is just, you can't replace it, ever. It's a memory that will last with you forever. And I feel like that, you know, if we go back to Florida, fine, whatever. If we go to Tennessee, fine, whatever. But y'all get to decide. And if you decide we're not going to either, okay, good. I'm on vacation. And my wife's loving it. Okay? Not that she doesn't love you guys. Okay? That's not the deal. All right? But she spent 27, 28 years chasing around behind me, watching kids that weren't her own. Was traveling select baseball. So, anyway, I owe that to her, to give her back time that I took away from her. Okay? All right. Sorry. Questions? You had a question?
Yes, how soon do we have to decide about the end of year tournament?
Usually things open up at the first of the year. NACA opens in February. Like I said, Florida hasn't put their stuff out yet, but it's usually pretty early on that we have to get registration in and stuff like that. So, yeah.
The question is, will the boys have the opportunity to have the short pants, or will everybody be in long pants?
No, they can decide. Yeah. We kind of went back and forth about that, but I was like, I don't want to take it away from them. But then if they want long, you know.
Some of the guys want long, some of the guys want the knicker type stuff, and I don't care. Whatever. I know what I like, but I'm not playing.
Yeah.
So I'll let them decide. It's their deal. It's all about them. It dang sure ain't about me.
Don't y'all be getting a big head
Yeah,
now.
not
Just 'cause it's
really
all about
y'all either. About the kids.
Like I told y'all, he loves them as much as I do. So, okay, other questions? Anything I can tell you guys? Do you have a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering, okay, Tennessee, all the teams stay there.
Well, you don't have to. Like, you can stay on camp, but you can stay off of camp. And I think I put that in there. It's like a $30 daily entry fee, or $30 for the tournament entry fee. So, like, if you want to stay off-site. Now, wherever we go, our goal will be to keep the boys together. If we go to Florida and have hotel rooms, our goal will be to keep them together. Because even though that's not ideal, that whole team bonding thing is really good. If we go to Tennessee, they'll stay in a dorm together. We'll have a chaperone, and then parents can. We're not nearly as worried about you guys as we are about the boys. But there is the opportunity to stay on camp or to stay off camp if you need something different or whatever, and then you can just come back and forth.
Their website, this NACAsports.net thing, is really pretty good.
It
If
is.
you want to research it, get on there and
Yeah.
look, and they got all kinds of photographs.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
pretty.
that means that they have opportunities to meet other team players.
Yes, there would be like other teams there. So like if we see a team from, South Carolina and be able to, be there with them. So, yeah.
Someone kind of compared it to like an Olympic village, like there's just the boys and athletes just all over the place.
Yes. And there's opportunities for them to like do things on camp, like just hang out and, play games together, stuff like that. So it's a lot more like what we had last year, where we had that whole just bonding of experience of being able to go down and, play basketball in the gym and stuff like that, where it's not just, you're stuck at a hotel room and the only thing you have is the pool, which is kind of a no-no, Sorry. So yeah. Other questions? Nothing? New people, y'all don't have questions? Ask some of the oldies, old timers here. No?
When do you want to order, how soon will we order uniforms? Like, will they have their practice stuff available for October?
That's the goal. She's getting the final order forms to me. So my goal tonight is we do have some people that weren't able to be here, which is why Brian is thankfully videoing this for us, because we would like to have commitment soon.
Today.
That was my goal, y'all. But I kind of felt like that was rude to say. I really want commitment this week at the latest. If you're here, I would like you to come ask your questions, to give me your grievances, to talk to me about what your issues are, or whatever, and let's work it out and let's make it happen. Because the sooner that we get commitment, then the sooner we can go ahead and get our orders in and have those. Because I would love for them to be able to have their full uniforms before we start fall practices, and have our Meet the Eagles night and stuff like that. Or if we're in a parade or anything like that, where they're able to, represent the Eagles. So, yeah.
I would like to be able to, when I walk out there on Tuesday, October, whatever day it is, that first Tuesday in October, that the team, JV varsity, the roster that shows up that day, that's who we're going to have. That's who we're going to play with. That's the way we're going to go. Except for we got 2 or 3 that are doing football, and we know who those guys are, and we've already reached out to them, or they've reached out to us. We kind of know their situation and what's going on. So, but for the uniform part of it, she's exactly right. We need to know pretty fast. But that's my expectation, is whoever shows up that first Tuesday in October, that's what I'm coaching. That's who I'm coaching.
Yeah. And they have a sizing chart that she'll send me, and an order form that we'll fill out based on the numbers of the uniforms. So whenever she gets that to me, our goal was to have that by today, and the art team didn't get the other thing back to me. So she was finishing that, but we'll have all that set, and we might do it hey, I'm going to be at Chick-fil-A, y'all want to come and fill out stuff, or do it over the phone or email. However, we have to do that to get that done, to get everybody's stuff in, so that we can get those orders going. So, yeah.
And once the season starts too, y'all, in spring, to get uniform stuff is just a beating. Mm-hmm. You just can't hardly get stuff, whether it's hats, jerseys, socks, whatever. It's just a beating.
Yeah.
So we would love to be able to get it all finalized, get everybody ready to go. And y'all got the bag checks. You got all the stuff. We've tried to give you as much information up front as we possibly can to make this as easy on you as possible for you to make an educated decision on whether or not you want to play for Hector. Okay? We would love to have you. Whether you played with us before or not. If you're new, I'm going to coach you. I'm going to coach your kid up just as hard as I would the guy that's been here last year or the year before. Doesn't matter. Okay? And I love these kids. Do they make me nuts some days? Absolutely. Make me crazy. But the flip side of that is, if you ask them, I do the same thing to them. I make them crazy. And that's okay. That's why we work good together. Okay?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm done now, sorry.
Kids, do y'all have any questions? Come on, Colton, ask a question. No? Nobody? Anything else? Anything you want to share? Oldies, y'all want to share an experience? Seniors. I'm looking at Grant. So Echo does so last year we had a lot of seniors. So Cutter was like within that, whenever we started, he was in that 6 to 9 year old range, and it's always been huge. Like his age group through the years, we've been part of Echo for the last 12 years or so, has always been gigantic. So he was kind of at the upper end of it. So last year we had a big graduating class. We had 19, was it 18 or 19 that walked the stage? So this year, again, we're going to have that. And we have a lot of seniors this year again going through Echo. So we offer a lot of senior things because last year I wanted that for him. Just because, so we've homeschooled the whole entire time. I didn't homeschool, my husband didn't homeschool, but that was something we did with our boys. I still wanted him to have all that fun stuff. He was so gracious that he gave me all that. He probably didn't care nearly as much as I did. He did love senior trip, but other than that, he was just kind of like, okay, I'm here doing whatever you want me to, Mom. But we did all that fun stuff. Well, we've got a group of parents that's coming together this year. So if you have a senior, we're going to have all those fun things. We will do a baseball senior night, but we're also going to have a graduation. They're going to do a senior breakfast. They want to do a senior trip. We have senior shirts. Just whatever. They're going to come up with a community project for the Cowboy Church, to like something that the seniors can do here. So they're going to have all of those fun things. They do a senior breakfast for us here. Which actually last year was on the day of senior trip. So the boys all got to come have breakfast together, and then we took off to Galveston. So, but if you have a senior, you have all the opportunities to be a part of all those things too. If your kid's not a senior yet, then coming forward, that's just something that we offer our parents. So, yeah. And if you have ideas, they take them. So, yeah. Is that it? Y'all are so quiet. We did.
Seniors are on the team this year and kind of, I guess, or how many of them thus far, and I guess skill level, are most of these kids coming from a background of, they played for select teams, or they kind of been on homeschool teams, or they're brand new baseball altogether, or kind of just a mix of everything every year?
We really have a mix. So we have like a core group of kids, several of them graduated last year that started like Cutter's freshman year, and they went all the way through together. So this year our seniors, stand up. So we have Grant and we have TC. So we have another kid, Luke, that will be new to the team, but he's coming to play with us. And Brandon, who plays football, he's not here tonight either. So it looks like we're going to have 4 this year. Possibly, I had another kid that was talking to me. He's like on the fence. He lives kind of far away, and so they were kind of figuring it out. Possibly, and generally, like we didn't say this, but our seniors play varsity. I think last year we had one senior that played JV one time because we needed him because we didn't have enough players. It was a weird game, and it was real early on, and Isaac, who was like this tall, played JV he was like, I'll do it, So, but other than that, our seniors play varsity. We figure that's just kind of a right that they've earned, so that they've made it that far. But we have a mix. We have kids that have played baseball since they were 3 years old, and we have kids that have come into it later on in life, different skill levels. Skip didn't tell y'all this, but he does private lessons. That's something that maybe he's not anymore, but I just called him out. But he works, he like sets up and works with the kiddos. If your kid wants to work, if they want to get better, he offers that up and works with them as well, as well as the other things that we have. So, and like I said, DBAT out here, a lot of our boys have memberships out there, and they meet out there and work together, which is, I encourage, because that not only, is team bonding, but it also gives them extra work with their teammates out there. So that's a good thing. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. Yeah.
That gets back to, based on what I've seen, some of the tryouts, based on what I know we've got coming back from last year's team, that's why I'm going to put a bigger emphasis on having some of my ex-players that played college baseball and stuff back several years ago. Several of them agreed to come out and work with these guys, and I had a couple of them come out last year and do it, and it really helps them to be able to take a group of catchers or a group of pitchers or a group of infielders and let them work on stuff that they've really been able to, sometimes it's better for these guys to hear a different voice than mine, because they're gonna hear me plenty. But it lets them hear from a little different perspective. So, skill level, the 3 homeschool organizations that are besides us, they're going to have some really good baseball players. And a lot of the private schools that we play, some of them guys, they've already committed to D1, D2 schools, and I don't know. Can some of our guys do that? Maybe. We're gonna throw them out there and see what happens. I'm gonna work their tail off to see how far they can get. And if a kid wants to play college baseball, I'll do everything I can to help make sure that I can put him in a position, or at least I can make some phone calls, or I can give him as much information as possible to get to that next level. I don't have a problem doing that. So, but at the same time, I've got to see that commitment from the player, not mom and dad, from the player. If the player wants to make the commitment, put forth the effort, make the sacrifice, I'm good with that. I don't mind helping, okay? And one thing that I tell these boys and parents, just so you'll know, I'm not trying to raise your children. That's your job, okay? But I'm going to tell these boys, and they're going to hear me say it several times. Number one, I expect them to respect you unconditionally, and I feel like that most of them do. But how they treat you as their parents, the mom and the dad, it needs to be equal, okay? And that's just the way I was raised. That's how it is. The other thing is, I tell them that you as their parents are already sacrificing money, time, gasoline, and everything else, toting them all over the world to play baseball. They owe it to you guys as their parents to put forth that commitment and that sacrifice and that effort. You deserve that, okay? And you may agree with that and you may not. I don't know. But again, that's what I expect out of them, and I don't mind telling them. And I'll probably remind them about every other week. That's just the way we do things. I want to build a little character in them. Integrity. Once they get out in the real world working a job, I want them to be able to look at that guy that's hiring them in the eye, shake their hand, and be able to talk to them on an adult level. And it starts right now. So, anyway, sorry, I said I was going to hush earlier and I didn't.
All right, y'all. Anything else? Anything else we can share with you? Nothing? All right. Well, if you have any questions you didn't want to ask the group, you should, because somebody else probably has the same question. But if not, come up and talk to me. Other than that, y'all are free to go. I'm going to send out a notice and say, I'm asking for your firm commitment. And I'll be sending out those that I get firm commitments from. I will be sending out uniform package information. So if you bring your player packet back to me and all signed and all that good stuff in your signature page, then I'm going to pretty much know that you're committing to us. But that's about it.